Hi guys, it's Minette from earlylearningmom.com. So I'm really sorry about doing this video the way I am. It's kind of raw. Honestly, I do not have a lot of time for messing around with editing and you know, all that. So if you are looking for fancy camera work, you might not want to watch this video. Otherwise, if you're looking to see what we're using for the at least the end of 2017 to a couple months into 2018 for sure, kindergarten curriculum for little Z, then you're going to want to stay tuned. So right now, like I said, we are homeschooling kindergarten. You will notice there's a mix of age stuff. A mix of age material here. Little Z is a very avid reader. However, when it comes to fine motor skills, he's still working on that kind of stuff. So we have some preschooler stuff and we have some kindergartner stuff and kind of stuff in between. So I'm going to start off by showing you. This is my planner. It is just I had it spiraled at the at Staples, and most of our day, I'll just show you a blank sheet. I break down everything like this. Get a little closer. And up here is a lot of our programs that we do with the Institute in Philadelphia. So most of that is here. This column here we're using for Bookshark, which is our curriculum of choice this year. And then this is just some additional programming that we are doing. I got these little, I think they're 3M tabs. So I printed it out at home here on slightly heavier paper and brought it to Staples, had them bound it for me, put covers on it, and then I added the little tabs. We are only planned up until February, and that's just because of it's a mix of things. We have a program with the Institute that takes us till February. Come February, we're going to be looking at the home treatment program and reevaluating kind of where we are at. So I didn't want to create a planner that went from September to September or September to August that would land up changing. So I just planned us out until February. The other reason I chose to only go till February is because we are using Bookshark, and we're using the pre-K or the preschool version. Is it preschool or pre-K? Pre-K. And there's a couple reasons for that. First of all, when you are planning with Bookshark, they recommend that you put your child in the category that is their age is the highest. Like, so this is for 4 to 5. He's 5. The next category would be the kindergarten one. It's for 5 to 7. So he would be at the lower end of that. So they recommended we start with pre-K. And I'm okay with that because it's very literature based. So you can't have too much literature, and I wouldn't want him to miss any of these books that we are working through right now. If you haven't seen how Bookshark sets it up, they give you a little timetable. They go by a 4-day-a-week program, which expects that you would be taking the 5th day off for like a co-op or something like that. And then if you flip the page, I'm having difficulties apparently. They break down each day for you, and just kind of, if there's questions regarding the reading, they give you those. You just kind of have to, basically, you follow along and teach your child. I had this book cut and spiral bound just because I like it to lay flat, especially if I'm working with little Z on geography and I want to look at what we're doing for geography and remember the questions. I can have it laying flat as opposed to it fumbling open, or I'm wrecking the spine, or so I just did that. I'm not sure what it does to the resale value. Frankly, I don't really care. I just wanted it set up that way. So like I said, we are using Bookshark. And I want to say, some people would say it's our primary homeschooling tool, but actually the Institute I feel is primary, but I guess they go hand in hand. So some of the books that we'll be using with Bookshark are Why Do Tigers Have Stripes? What's Under the Sea? Now and Then, Feelings, The Lion Storyteller Bedtime Book, Mother Goose, Babe, Winnie the Pooh, Dr. Seuss ABCs, Stories from Around the World. And I have to say, I love this book. We are only a few stories in. I'm not going to talk about each book, but I have to say, they give you a map at the beginning, and it plots where all these stories that you're going to read are from. So before we start reading a book, one of the stories, like Strong Magic was a story from Australia. I tell them that we're going to be reading a story from Australia, and we go and we look for it on the map before we read the story. I just can't, this was an amazing choice from Bookshark. Even if you don't use Bookshark, I highly recommend that you consider grabbing this book to read with your child. It's amazing. They're also using Animals. You read to me and I'll read to you. And I have to say, the stories in this book are written in a way that they're using great vocabulary. It's really not dumbed down stories. It's just a great book. I'm enjoying that one as well. We're working through our way on that one. And this is what we're using for science. It's the Berenstain Bears Big Book of Science and Nature. And I have to say, this is really cool too. It's, you know, in a storybook form, but they are talking about scientific things like actual facts about wind, and they talk about tornadoes and rain. However, I do find that it doesn't go into enough detail. So what I've done is, I'll get more into what we're doing with the institutes, but every day we're supposed to introduce a new homemade book, read it 3 times, and then retire it and move on to a new book. So for the days that we're doing science, I make books based on the topics that we've been touching here, and then I will present that book the same day that goes into a little more detail. So he's getting a little bit more of a meaty science than he would just be with Bookshark. If he were preschool, this would be fine. I feel as a kindergartner and someone who does love science, and he's very interested in science, that we should be doing a little more. So that's what we're doing with that. We have the Usborne First 1,000 Words in English. Usborne book, Things People Do. People. A Street Through Time. A City Through Time. Richard Scarry, Hop Aboard, Here We Go. Sorry for the glare. What People Do All Day. National Geographic Kids, Beginner's World Atlas. And A Child's Book of Art. So that is most of what we got, what we are using for Bookshark. You'll notice that I have older versions. Some of my books are not in what you would say new, even very good condition. Because I'm in Canada, to send an entire Bookshark order to me costs quite a bit in shipping. And with the exchange, I was able to get a lot of the books used for much cheaper than I would have paid just to order the whole box set. So what I did was I just ordered the instructor's guide. I skipped the math manipulatives as well because I'll show you in a minute, we're using another math program. We are going to use, do some of the activities in the Bookshark math, but the math was very light. I think it starts in week 12 and it's only 2 days a week. So for a kindergartner, that's not enough. So we're supplementing, and we are still going to use the stuff that's recommended in the books. However, I have a lot of the manipulatives already, so it was really not worth purchasing the kit. The other things that we're using are, we're finishing up what your preschooler needs to know, and we also have what your kindergartner needs to do. And what I'm doing with these, and I'm flipping through and I'm getting information and stories to create some of our homemade books that we'll be doing with the Institute. If you want to know more about our reading program that we're doing with the Institute, check out the book, How to Teach Your Baby to Read. And I know you're thinking, yeah, but your son's not a baby, he's 5. We have been doing this program with him since he was a baby. So they follow steps. So you're going to start off with simple reading words. Now, he's reading more complicated words now. We're introducing different topics, but originally we started with things that he was familiar with. Clothes, people, places, stores, things like that, toys, food, things he was really interested in. But we're way past that now. So I'm looking at categories of like animals that are extinct, animals that are threatened, provinces, states, countries, airports, airlines, different types of animals besides chicken, cat, cow. So we're kind of spicing it up now, and since getting the recommendations when we went to Philadelphia, our program has really improved. So we will be using, I print out flashcards, we print out sentences, I present him with the word flashcards, 5 sets of 5 words 3 times a day. And after he's been presented 1 set for 5 days, we retire it and we introduce a new set. So every day we're retiring a set and adding a new set in to keep it fresh. And I talked earlier about our homemade books. This is what our homemade book would look like. It would just be on a particular topic and lots of big writing. That's the thing. Actually, this is not big. Glenn Doman, when you start teaching your baby to read, recommends it's like 2 inches tall print. His eyes are developed enough. We just print it this way. He can read smaller, but this is easier for him to read, so we choose to just keep it blown up. And we do another thing that's really important with these books is the fact that we keep the pictures and does this book have pictures? I may have grabbed a bad example. Oh yes, here. We keep the pictures and the words separate because we don't want him to be distracted from the words by looking at the pictures. So we make 1 of these a day. So I will take a day to do my work, and I'll go to Starbucks and I will go through kids' encyclopedias online, copy and paste, change things, and create our own homemade books. We are, for math, I guess we're doing 3 programs. We have our Bookshark program, which I told you, really light. We're doing it anyhow, but our second program is we're using the Doman math program with the dots, and we'll eventually move on to the big red numbers. However, after talking to a fellow homeschooling mom who's also was a kindergarten to grade 2 teacher, she was like, oh, it's a little light on math still, because I mean this program only takes us maybe 30 seconds to a minute to do a day. We do it really quickly. If you want to know more about this program, check out the book, How to Teach Your Baby Math. So I wasn't sure what to do. So then I came home from our coffee date and I purchased this book. And it is Math Reasoning. It's Beginner 1. Now, it says it's for age 3. Neither of my boys would have been able to sit down at age 3 and do a lot of this. Now my stepdaughter, she would have been able to. So my mentality is, I purchased this book and we are going, I purchased the e-version because to ship the actual hard copy to me, it was going to cost me over $70. Where I purchased this, I think it cost me $30 Canadian. I printed it out and just had it spiral bound. I'm still ahead of the game. So, but we are motoring through this really fast. We just started a few days ago. We started on the 21st. Today is the 23rd of September, and we're already on page 25. So I'm really using this as a review, and I really like that it doesn't have a lot of writing required. So for somebody that has fine motor skill issues, this is perfect. So my mentality is we're probably going to motor through this book within about 10 weeks. After so, I'm going to order Beginnering 2, which is for 4-year-olds. And my calculations is it should take us about 15 weeks. Conservatively 15 weeks to get through. We'll probably get through it faster. Which brings us to March time, where I can go and purchase the actual kindergarten version of this. I think it's a math reasoning level A, or is it K? I'm not sure. But anyhow, I'll get the kindergarten version, and we can start working through that. Seeing we homeschool year-round, we should be done by September, which means come September, he can get into grade 1 and be right on track. Now, if we're not done by September, that's no problem. We're homeschoolers, so we can do what we need to do to get this done. So this is what we're using for math. I'm toying with this. I wasn't sure if I was going to put this on this video, but Life of Fred, I have been thinking of reading it with little Z. I'm thinking of waiting until later on in the year. I'm not 100% sure yet, but I have Apples, and I have, what's the next book? Apples and Butterflies, I think. Don't quote me on that. Pretty sure it's Butterflies. I have both of them. If we get to it, great. If we don't, we don't. We're going to be doing some chapter books as well. We've already started. We just finished a Magic School Bus book. I'm going to do a separate video on our read out louds that we're planning on reading or have started reading this year. Like I said, I plan for it to take us till about February. However, we are motoring through some of them really quickly, so I may need to pull a few more off our shelf, which is not a big deal. We tend to do our read out louds before bed, and that's a really great time because he's nice and calm. And apparently my cat's running around, so if you hear something in the background, that's my cat Gizmo. So I'm planning on throwing some more books in there, but I'll do that in a separate video. Something else we haven't started yet, I'm really hoping to get going with, is Themes to Remember. And if you haven't heard of this program, it is amazing. It is a program that comes with a CD. I have the CD upstairs. But what it does is it takes a classical song or a classical piece, and it will play it for the child without words. And then it will play it to the child with a poem that goes to the song, and it talks about the composer and the name of the piece, etc. I don't know what's up with my cat. She's in her witching hour, I guess. Anyhow, I did some of this with Wes when he was younger, and I mean, now every time I hear Spring by Vivaldi, the poem or the song that they've come up with sticks in my head. I know exactly what it is. So I'm really hoping to start going through this. This is going to take us a couple of years to go through. There's 80 pieces I think it's 80 pieces. I want to say there's 80 pieces. Here we go. Yes, there's 80 pieces. So 2 songs each. So definitely check this out. I'm working on incorporating it into our day. Right now, our day is really, like, we're just getting used to running our Institute programs, which includes masking, it includes crawling, it includes our reading program. choice boards, all sorts of stuff. I am going to go more into the Institute program in another video when I talk about our trip to Philadelphia, which is so overdue. It's just I've been so focused on creating material for that program, I haven't had time to get on here and vlog to you guys. So we are working on some fine motor skills. So we will be using, we started using this Kumon tracing book. It's designed for 2 to 4 year olds. Like I said, we're still working a lot on fine motor skills, so that is fine for us. We pulled out this, I grabbed this at Walmart when I was in the States a couple weeks ago. It's more for fine motor skills than anything. He knows his letters, he knows how to count, he knows all that. It's just to work. There's some really awesome, tracing activities in this book. So that's why I purchased it. And just some coloring and some mazes. So while he knows the preschool materials, he needs work on fine motor skills. So that's why we're working through that. I'm using this book here, My Body, to create homemade books from. That's where you saw the book about the brain earlier that I had made with the yellow cover. I'm grabbing the information from this book. I'm not typing it out. What I am doing is I'm reading it out loud, voice to text on my phone, transferring that to my computer and making any corrections that need to be made, blowing it up and adding pictures. It saves a lot of time as opposed to sitting there and typing it out. And this is our binder. It is like our little Bible almost. We have 3 of these binders, but this one has our actual programs in and what is expected of Little Z. So like I said, I'm going to go into this more in detail, but this is a very important part of our curriculum. We flew out to Philadelphia last month, and Z had some assessments done, and they came up with this amazing program. So the other stuff is just to kind of bring it in to be an entire homeschooling year. 2 things that I don't have beside me right now are the development, what are they called? Developing the Early Learners workbooks. Bookshark and Sunlight, which they're sister companies. Bookshark is the secular version of Sunlight. We're working through those books. I'm picking and choosing the pages I want. Some of them are a pain in the butt to set up. Others are just too difficult right now. We will move back to them. So I had the books torn apart and I'm photocopying pages that I require, so that way we can go back and use them again just to brush up on skills. Another book I am using solely for fine motor skills is Becca's K4 skill book. Just to work on some tracing, some fine motor skills, some coloring. Like I said, he knows the information. It's just to work on those fine motor skills. So right now, that is my plan from September up until February. At that point, I'm going to go back and I'm going to reassess everything and decide when I plan. Right now, my big picture is that we will be starting the kindergarten program come September. However, not September, sorry. February, March, April. And then moving along with that. You don't want to move too fast through the Bookshark curriculum, because otherwise it starts getting into more advanced materials that may not be age appropriate for young children. So like really young elementary kids. So I don't want to rush through too fast, but I also don't want to stay in preschool too long. I want to get us into the kindergarten program that has more chapter books, more books like that. So anyhow, thanks for watching. If you want to learn more about some of the materials that I'm using, let me know in the comments below. I'd be happy to do response videos or answer your questions in the comments section. Have you used Bookshark? What are your thoughts? Did you start with the pre-K and move to kindergarten, or did you jump right into kindergarten? And yeah, so thanks for watching, and I'm really sorry it took me a while to put this video up, but I wanted to really kind of jump into our school year. We're week 4 day 2, I believe, in the Sunlight program. We did only start about 2.5 weeks ago, so we are moving through quite quickly. However, I wanted to make sure this was right before I got on camera and started, preaching about Bookshark. I wanted to make sure it was right for our family, and it actually is really good. Especially for a little guy that isn't writing a lot yet and has trouble with fine motor skills, but is super bright. So thanks for watching. Like I said, comment below any questions, comments, and be sure to subscribe, like, and check out my blog at www.earlylearningmom.com. Thanks for watching.